Right. So let's get started. So you can have a look at that. So we work out the CS ratio, the weighted average CS ratio had also been worked out. So you can easily work out the things, right? So as soon as you've done with that, so you can indicate your answer. So accordingly, we can discuss. Right, give it a try. Yes, you would have attempted the part C. Yes, what was your answer for the part C? And also the part D as well. Right, okay, without taking much time, so let's look at that. So we are in the middle of the question. Yes, so earlier we work out the weighted average CS ratio. It's just a matter of taking the weighted average contribution divided by the weighted average sales. So that's what we took, and as a matter of that, we could work out the weighted average CS ratio, and that was 33%. So now the question is asking, assume the above sales mix, at what sales revenue will the company earn 140,000 per year after taxes? Okay, so you need to consider the fixed cost. The question would have given you the fixed cost, and it was said it's 400,000. So then you know the formula. It is to find a target profit. So in that, you need to slightly modify the original formula. What you're going to do, you are going to take the fixed cost, it's 400,000 plus, and you're going to add the after-tax profit, 140,000. So however, you need to convert this into a before tax scenario. So this represent the after-tax. The tax percentage is 30%, so therefore this represent 70%. So if you divide it by 0.7, so it's going to give you the after tax, before tax situation, or simply the profit before tax. And you can consider the entire thing and then divide it by the CS ratio. It was 33%, or it's simply 1/3. So it would be 1/3. So if you try to get this 400,000 plus 140,000 divided by 0.7, it's going to give you 600,000, and it's 33%, or 1 divided by 3. So if you get them divided by the CS ratio, there it comes the sales revenue 1.8 million. So at 1.8 million sales revenue, you would find that you can achieve the target profit of 140,000 after tax. You can earn 140,000 after tax profit. So at the sales revenue of 1.8 million. And your answer must be 1.8 million. Then we may look at the final part. The painless dental clinic is considering becoming more specialized in cleaning and filling. What would be the company's revenue per year if the number of cleaning increased to 12,000 per year? So now you are thinking about becoming more specialized in the two products, that is cleaning and filling. So cleaning and filling and dropping the capping, I think. Okay. So it's about dropping a particular product. What would be the company's revenue per year if the number of cleaning increased to 12,000 per year, the number of filling increased to 1,000 per year, while the number of capping dropped to 0? So here you can work it out in two main ways. One is to take the full cost basis. So in that you can consider about the new situation and work out the profit. So here I think it asks you the after-tax profit. So let's consider this full cost basis and work out what is the after-tax profit. So there you only have two products. One is about the cleaning. So when you come to the cleaning, you think of making the cleaning increase to 12,000. So you want to increase that to 12,000 units. And earlier we computed the contribution from each of the product. And contribution from cleaning was how much? 9,000 is that? 400, no? Cleaning, it's 120, 80, it's 40, actually it's 40. Yeah, 40. Then you have the filling, the other product. So there you thought of doing what? The contribution is 100 at the moment for cleaning. It's 100. The number of filling increased to 1,000 per year. 1,000 and it's 100. So here it comes the contribution. It's 12,000 into 40 and it's 1,000 into 100. Okay. So there it's going to be the total contribution 508,000 because you know the other product it has come to 0, no? Capping had become 0. So then you need to take the fixed cost. The new fixed cost, as per the question says, what has become. With the changes in the product mix, the company would increase the fixed cost to 450,000. So accordingly, the profit before tax, would become how much? 130,000 or something? Yes, it's 130,000. Then you take the tax rate. The tax rate was given earlier. It was 30%. It's 39,000 tax that you would have to pay. And consequently, profit after tax, how much is that? It's going to be 91,000. So this is the new situation. Now you need to compare this with the original situation. Originally, how much you earn? 84,000. So therefore, if you make this decision in terms of financial figures, in terms of finance, you can say it's a good idea, right? It's a good idea. Why is that? Because it increases your profit by 7,000. Increase your profit by 7,000. In terms of finance, in terms of financial, figures, it's a wise move. It's a good choice. So you can see that your profit is increased by 7,000. So this is what we call the full cost basis. You consider the entire situation, the full cost basis. The other method, what you could have done is it's about the incremental basis. So in that, in case of incremental basis, you are only considering the movement. So earlier you were producing 9,000 units of cleaning. Now it's 12,000. So therefore, if you take the product cleaning, units has been increased by 3,000. So therefore, increase in contribution is going to be this much. 3,000 into 40. Then if you take the filling, what is the situation? Earlier, how much you managed to do? You were doing 900 units, but now you are doing 1,000 units of that. Hence, the increase is 100 units, and its contribution 100. So here we have the contribution. And also, if you look at the other product, capping, you can see that what has happened to capping. Earlier, you used to produce 700 units. Look at, yeah, earlier you used to do 100 units and you make a contribution of 700, but now you are doing 0 units. So therefore, what is the drop in contribution from the capping? Earlier you used to do 100 units and it was giving you a contribution of 700, but now it is no longer there. It's 700 into 100. So this is the drop in contribution. So you can then take the increase in the contribution or the change in the contribution. Yes, here we have increase in contribution. The contribution එක අපිට පේනවා incremental basis එකකින් ගත්තාම වැඩි වීමක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් if there is change in the fixed cost change. Question says that so with this decision your fixed cost goes up to from 400,000 to 450. So it is 50,000 increase. So it's an incremental cost. So accordingly, the profit before tax, increase in profit before tax, profit before tax, and then you can apply the tax rate, that is 30%, 3,000. Consequently, you can see the increase in profit. This is the increase in profit. So again, you can see the same outcome, no? So eventually it has come the increase in profit. So here you consider the full figures, right? So it was the full cost basis, but here you are applying the incremental basis, right? So not only the cost, but also the revenue as well. So this is how you do. So whatever the method that you are comfortable, so you can adapt and you can figure out the answer. So that comfortable ඕන විදිහකට එක work out කරගන්න පුළුවන්, right? See whether you have any questions on this. Yes. So So before we move on to the next question, so would like to ask you, are you clear with that? Just check it. Yes, I'm waiting for your feedback. So are you clear with that? Are there anything that you're not comfortable? Just come on. So I'm asking you a question. So are you fine with that or not? Okay. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. So I told you that I just want to work out one more question on this. That's going to be question number 5. So in the last class, we did not discuss question number 5, but I find that it's a kind of interesting question. So we can get a lot more insights. Hence, I thought of taking this with you. So let's look at a profit volume or PV graph is sometimes used in place of or along with the break-even chart. An example of such a graph is given. So here you can see the break-even graph is provided with you. This is the net profit, it's 0, and the minus section and the plus section, and here we have the PV chart, right? Then let's look at what are the questions. Answer the associated questions and be precise. Okay. So let us look at one question together, then you may understand how it works. There it asks first, what does JK represent? Okay. You can see that here JK represents what? So in a profit chart, he assumes what this JK represent. What is that? In a profit chart, if you take the profit chart like this, you would have drawn profit chart in case of the class or the lecture. So then what is this JK? So it's simply what? It is your fixed cost, right? So the JK represents fixed cost. So likewise, that's what we want, the fixed cost. So the first part A, the answer is fixed cost. So likewise, so I want you to look at the rest of the things and identify what it is. So can you give it a try? Try out the rest. So here we got the formula. So what does the what is represented by the point E? So likewise, you can move on. Just give it a try. So you can take 10 minutes time here and give it a try. So you can indicate your answers in the chat, and then we are going to look at the answers. So it's an interesting question. Just give it a try. Yes, you're clear with part B. Yes, not only part B, you better move on so you can work out the rest of the things as well. So like what is represented by ij, then next thing, and what is represented by likewise here by the ik divided by ak. So you can try this rest here to the entire thing. Good. Yes, very correct. Keep doing. So come up to part F. Yeah. Then we'll look at that. Okay, so it's almost 10 minutes. So shall we have a look at that? The first one we did, then what is represented by the point E? Yes, so that is nothing but the break-even point. The point E, it represents here. So you can see that at this point, at the point of E, uh, you enjoy no loss, so neither profit nor loss. So the neither profit nor loss situation, we call it, yes, you are very correct, it's break even. So the B at point E, that is your break even point. So it can be in terms of sales unit, if you take the sales unit over here, or even it can be the sales revenue, if you take the sales revenue. So it depends, but it's going to be the break even point. So what is represented by ij? Then what about ij over here? Yes, it is profit, but it asks you to be precise. So that is exactly the profit at the sales of J. The sales unit or sales revenue of J, that is the profit. So that is what the answer for IJ. So you have tried that very correctly. So at IJ, take that, the part C, it's going to be the profit at the point of J. So it may be the sales or it can be the sales unit. Sales unit වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, sales වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. J කියන sales point එකේදී profit එක කොච්චරක්ද කියන එක තමයි අපිට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. Profit at the point of J, that is sales unit. Then what is next? The part D. What is represented by, yeah, that's it, no? It does not ask any what is represented by. The question is silent. We cannot even figure that out. No, cannot even think of. Or let's ask. Let's make a question for that. Let's say what is represented by ik. What is represented by ik? Yes, come up with that. Ik. What about ik? Yes. මොකද පුතාලා ik represent කරන්නේ? So I just want you to engage in this, right? As I told, it's from the very first day. It's a kind of a tutorial. It's not a lecture. So here we are supposed to have a kind of a discussion. Yeah, I want you to attend that here. Yes, very correct. Very correct. It's about the contribution at the point of J. So here you have the fixed cost. Here you have the profit. If you take the profit plus the fixed cost, that's going to be the contribution. Yes, very correct. Huh? Good job. It's contribution. It's contribution at the point of J. Good. So let's look at the next part. What about next? It asks you, what does ik divided by ak represent? What does ik divided by ak represent? What is that? If you take ik divided by ak here, good, very correct. Okay, just see here. Yeah, if you take the sales unit, yes, that has to be the case. Yeah, you take sales unit. But what if you take this x-axis as the sales? What if you take the x-axis as the sales? X-axis එක sales කියලා ගත්තොත් what is that? So the one possible answer, yes, as you have indicated, ik divided by ak. ak. So if this axis is the x-axis is the units, it could be contribution per unit. Yes, you are correct. So in one way, it has to be the contribution per unit. That's correct. Or if you consider that particular axis to be the sales revenue, then it's going to be nothing but the CS ratio. It can be CS ratio. Yes. Yes, you have taken it very correctly. Good job. Then the F. What does IJ divided by DJ? What about IJ divided by DJ? Yes. Part F. IJ divided by AJ. So it's ij divided by dj. Sorry, what is that? Okay, let's see. Yeah. Yes, profit per unit. Again, if you consider it as one possible answer is profit per unit. Yes, very correct. Per unit. Or if you have taken the sales over there, it's going to be profit margin. The profit divided by sales, it's nothing but the profit margin. That could also be the case. So you can think of that particular way as well. Then, yeah, then it asks the part G, if variable cost per unit decreases when other factors constant, what would happen to the ratio ij divided by dj? So what we have just calculated, what if the variable cost per unit decreases when the other facts remain constant? So what do you think about that? What can happen to the ij divided by dj? Yes, the variable cost drops when the other factors remain constant. What could be the case? What happened to the ratio? What happened to the profit ratio? Simply, the variable cost decreases. Yes, pretty simple one. Okay, it increases profit per unit. Very correct. Yes, that's what it happens. It increases profit margin or profit per unit, even here, profit margin or profit per unit. Profit per unit or profit margin. Yes, very correct. Then let's look at the requirement of H. What about H? If the fixed cost were to increase, but sales revenue were also increased to the extent necessary to retain the prior break-even, what would be the effect on profit at a level of output sales K? And how would this appear on the graph? It asks, assume that your fixed cost increases, but in order to retain the existing break-even, your sales price would also increase. Then it asks, what would be the effect on the profit at a level of output? So what would be the effect on the profit at a level of output K? And how would this appear on the graph? සාය කොහොමද graph එකේ පේන්නේ කියන එකත් අහනවා. ඒකට අපෙන් අහනවා අපේ තියෙන fixed cost එක වැඩිවීමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. හැබැයි in order to retain the break even, so your sales price also increases. Then it asks, what is the impact that it has on level of output at K? At level of output K, what's going to be your, what do you call, the profit. No, what is that asking? Profit. What will be the effect on the profit? So just think of, it's a good question here. The fixed cost increases, but in order to retain the break even, the sales price increases. Then it asks what is the profit at a level of K. So suggesting assume some figures, and if you draw something that will help you to get into the answer. දර යම් කිසි figures ටිකක් assume කරොත්, assume කරලා draw කරොත් කොට ඒක help කරයි answer එකක් ගන්න. And in fact, it asks to draw the scenario and see as well. Okay, it says that sales decreases, so profit decreases. Okay, good. Attempt is appreciated. So let's look at that. So that is one possible way of thinking. So this also can contribute. Okay, let's take some, yeah, okay, let's see. Profit increases. Okay, let's look at, so it's like this, no? Let's take some figures. So let's assume there's a sales price, say rupees, just imagine, say rupees 30, and variable cost per unit, say rupees 20. So thereby the contribution is going to be 10 or something. So then let's assume fixed cost is 200,000. So if you look at the break even now, it's going to be in terms of unit. At 20,000 unit, the break even occurs. At 20,000, break even occurs. And let's assume your current sales unit, right? the current sales unit 30,000. අපි තුමු දැන් ඔයා එක 30,000 විකුණු level එකේ ඉන්නේ කියලා. එතකොට how much is your profit? If you just work out the profit, you know, once you exceed the break even, so the contribution what you earn after that, that is your profit. So accordingly, your break even is 20, sales unit is 30,000. So it's 30,000 minus 20,000, 10,000 units, and that is into the contribution per unit 10. So this is the profit that you would make. Break even point, right? Then if you think the question asks us to say what if the fixed cost were to increase. Okay, let's say that your fixed cost goes up to 250,000, right? This is a new scenario, right? The existing one is the new scenario, right? Variable cost would remain the same, right? No change, but contribution per unit. But in order to retain the same level of break-even point, so your sales price to be increased. So then what must be the sales unit break-even point? Has to be 20,000, no? If it has to be 20,000, what must be your sales price? Or first you need to decide the contribution. So you take this fixed cost divided by contribution is what equals to the break even. So it's simply 250,000 divided by 20,000 is what gives you the x. So the x equals 250,000 divided by 20,000. So the contribution has to be is that 12.5 to be exact, has to be 12.5. Accordingly, your sales price must be 32.5. This is the sata 50ක් වෙන්න ඕන ඔයාගේ sales price එක. The contribution එක 12යි. So you add the same break even. So you are supposed to identify the sales unit. So let's assume you operate at 30,000. Then what is your profit? It's simply 10,000 units into 12.5. So you're making a profit of 125,000. So therefore, the answer must be the profit increases. Profit එක වැඩි වෙනවානේ. Profit increases. So that's what should be your answer. How this would appear on the graph. तर පුතාලා graph එකක් ඇන්දොත් තර මේ තත්ත්වේ ඔයාලට graph එක පෙන්වන්න කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. Right? So if you are just to draw a graph, you can take the sales unit, right? You can take the sales unit, and here they have taken the profit. So sales unit of 0, your profit is going to be your fixed cost, 200,000. 200,000. So if you make the sales unit of 20,000, then your profit is going to be 0. If you make sales unit of 30,000, then your profit is going to be 100,000. So this is the original scenario. Then you can take the new scenario. Take the new scenario. The sales unit 0. Profit, it's a loss situation. It's 250,000 this time. 250,000. And it's 20,000, 0, 30,000, 125,000. So let's try to put this situation in a graph. So you can select this and you can go to a insert. You can simply draw that, but in my case, I'm trying to take it. look at the graph. We could have taken all of them together, no? In under the graph, let me take this new profit scenario is the profit. So you can select the entire thing. You can just go and take a graph. Okay, its unit is coming, but there are three graphs. What is that? It's not what I have intended. Says unit has come over there. Okay, let me try it. What if we select only the 2 dimensions? Yeah, but if you do that manually, you could have you would be able to manage it. But here I find it a little difficult. Yeah, but we can manage. No? Series 1, 200. Yeah, right. So it is something like this. No? So this is how your graph would see. But it's supposed to be a straight line. Here it shows as kind of no, it does not comes as the intended way. It can't be like this. Yeah, but you can try that, right? Sorry, I cannot take it completely, but you could try that manually. So then you may come into a perfect graph, right? So you can see how it has been changed. Let's look at the next one. Order the following in terms of their absolute effect on the slope of the line ABC. So order the following in terms of their absolute effect on the slope of the line ABC. කොට ABC කියන අපේ the profit line එක. කොට මේ profit line එකට තියෙන absolute impact එක තමයි අපෙන් අහන්නේ. The three scenarios as follows. Give 1 to the greatest change and 3 to the smallest change. So simply putting, what has the greatest impact on the profit from highest to lowest? What if the variable cost per unit declines 10% per unit? Then what if the selling price per unit declines 10% per unit? What if the fixed cost decline 10%? So that are the three scenarios. So you have some data, so you can based on the data what we have taken originally, you would be able to manage it easily. කලින් අපි භාවිතා කරපු data use කරලා ඔයාලට පුළුවන් ඒක manage කරගන්න. බලන්න. and give me the rank as well. So from the greatest impact to the lowest impact. Yes, so how is the progress? So let us look at that. So in fact, relating to the previous one, I have attempted how to take that particular graph, and I have just found a way. So here I can select the entire data set and I can go to the insert, the recommended charts. We can go to all chart. In that, if you take XY scatter type of chart, that's what would do the job. So XY type kind of chart is what we are looking for. Then you can take a kind of a straight line, scatter with straight line. Then this is what would help you. So here you can see this is your graph. You can clearly see how the profit has been changed at the same break even, but the profit has gone up, right? That is relating to the previous one. Okay. Similarly, For this, we can do the same. We can imagine three instances. The first one, variable cost declined by 10%. So you can take the original data set and do these changes and take them. So if you take the original data set, you can work out different scenarios. First one, variable cost change by 10%. No? Variable cost change by 10%. The sales price remained the same. Variable cost is 20 at the moment. If it changed by 10%, it's going to be 9%. So it's 18. So therefore, you can see your contribution would become 12. Contribution become 12. So your fixed cost would remain the same. Fixed cost 200,000. So thereby, if you work out the break even, that occurs at 16,667. Then the next scenario, there it talks about what if the selling price per unit declines by 10%. Sales price change 10%. So sales price එක 10% එකකින් drop වුණොත් මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ? Sales price currently it's 30%. If it drops by 10%, it 27. Variable cost, the original one would remain. So thereby your new contribution is going to be 7. Fixed cost is 200,000. This is going to be your break even. The break even is going to be greater, occurs at 28,571. Then if you take the next instance where the fixed cost declines by 10%, fixed cost change 10%. So the sales price would remain the same, variable cost would remain the same, thereby the contribution per unit. However, the fixed cost decreases 200,000 originally. Once you drop it by 10%, it's 90%, 180,000. So you get this, and this is it. So this is what happens to your what you call the break even. So this is break even units. Now you can decide what is having the greatest impact on the profit line. So in order to fully convince this, you can take a kind of a graph, right? Considering this sales unit, you can take certain sales units. But here, you may find it difficult to put everything in a single graph, no? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, you may be. Yeah, it's what if the sales unit is 0? So under the first change, variable cost change scenario, so you could see the fixed cost was 200,000. 200,000. Right. And then under that, the break even occurs at 16,667 units. So there, profit is 0. So if you assume a particular level, let's say 30,000 profit level, 30,000 units production level, then you can see the profit is going to be 30,000 minus 16,667 into the contribution, that is 12. This much of contribution. Then the sales price change scenario, you can see at 0 level 200,000. Then you might have to identify another level. It's 28,571. That is where their break even occurs. Here also you can take a figure 28,571 minus 60,667 into 12. And here, what is the situation of at the level of 667 unit? For the sake of completion, 60,667 contribution is rupees 7 minus 100,000. So 83,000. At units of 30,000 level, how much is situation? 28,571 into 7. So this is it. And finally, the fixed cost change scenario. So you need to take the zero level, it's 180,000, no problem. If you take 16,667 units, into contribution, that is 10 minus 180,000. Okay, then you have to take 18,000 level. If you have to do that manually, you don't need this much of levels. But since I'm doing that in the computer, I'm taking all the levels. Right. So here we need to compute for 18,000 units level. What is the situation as well? 1,667. So there comes the contribution. It's 12. That is the profit. That's a profit. And here at 18,000 level, so if you have to compute, you are making contribution of 7, but the fixed cost 200,000. Still make a loss. So here at 28,571 minus 18,000, the entire thing is a profit 105. Similarly, at 30,000 level, break even occurs at 18,000. You take it into 10. This is it. Okay, now you have everything. Now we can simply select and put it in a graph and see what is the impact that it has. Take the entire data set, just go to the insert, recommended chart, it's all chart, the XY, and its line. So it would be something like this. So this is it. Now you can see the situation clearly. This is it. So have a look at that and answer the question. What is the question is about? Order the following in terms of their absolute effect on the slope of the line. Okay, so what is having the greatest impact on the slope? What is having the greatest slope? So it's going to be for 1 unit change, what is having the greatest? බලන්න පුතාලා දැන් මොකක්ද වැඩිම ස්ලෝප් එකක් තියෙන්නේ කියලා. එතන මෙතන flat impact එකක් තමයි බැලුවොත් the orange represent the sales price change. Sales price change එකේ flat structure එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපේ profit එක per unit change එකට profit එකේ බොහොම අඩු impact එකක්. So instead, if you look at the fixed cost change AK greater than the sales price, but still it's having something less. But if you look at the impact that it has on the variable cost change, so it tend to be having a kind of a greatest slope. So therefore, if you have to rank this, what comes first? What is having a significant impact? So out of the 3 variables, that is the variable cost change comes first, then we have the fixed cost change next, and sales price drop, it is the third. slope of the line. Give the number 1 to the greatest change and the smallest change. So what would we make in the greatest change? It's going to be if there is a variable cost drop, so it will significantly increases your profit. If there is a drop in fixed cost, that also increases your profit, but that is not that significant compared to what you call that the variable cost. But if you take the sales price drop, it is having an impact on the profit, but that may not be that much of significant. Is that අපේ ranking හරි නේද තාලා? So variable cost එක drop වුණොත් අපේ profit එකේ තියෙන slope එක මෙතන වැඩි. ඒතර අපිට ඔක ඕනනම් ඇත්තට mathematically බලන්නත් පුළුවන් points දෙකක් consider කරලා. එතකොට if you have to look at from a mathematical point of view, what is having the greatest change? Yeah, you can consider 2 points and you can see what it is. අපි mathematically compute කරලා බලමු. එතකොට අපිට පේනවා sales unit points දෙකක් ගත්තොත් 28,571 to 30,000 මම ගන්නවා. Unit change එක තියෙනවා 30,000 minus 28,571 1,429 units. The profit එකේ change එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා 159,006 to 142,848. So ඒක change එකක් විදිහට අපි ගත්තොත් slope එක 12. So ඊළඟ එකේ අපි ගත්තොත් A unit level එකම 1,429. Then profit එක change වෙලා තියෙනවා 10,003. So if you take that 10,003 divided by this is it, it's 7. It was a below fixed cost එකත් A level එකකින් 1,429 units තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි change වෙලා තියෙනවා 120,000 minus 105,710, right? 14,000. But අපි ගත්තොත් right, it's 10. So of variable cost is the first one as it was witnessed. You can see that there's significant impact. So the fixed cost must be the second one, sorry. Fixed cost as it was witnessed over here, and the sales price drop that is having the third significant impact. ඒක තමයි slope එකෙන් තියෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට එක unit එකක් වෙනස් වෙනකොට අපේ profit එක රුපියල් 12කින් වෙනස් වෙන්න බලන්න. ඒතකොට මෙතන sales price change එකත් එක්ක අපේ sales price එක රුපියලකින් වෙනස් වුණොත් අපේ 7ක් තමයි profit එකට impact එක. ඒ වගේම අපේ fixed cost එක රුපියලකින් වෙනස් වුණොත් ඒක impact එක 10ක් වෙනවා. So it is having the second greatest. So the first one, the variable cost, the other one, the fixed cost, then the sales price, right? So it is now mathematically proven. Good. Then finally it asks, what in your opinion is the most significant limitation to traditional break-even analysis, and why do you think so? Yes, come up with an answer. What is in your opinion the most significant limitation to traditional break-even? මොකක්ද පුතා traditional break-even එකේ තියෙන most significant limitation? So you would have learned that, and in your opinion, what was the most significant limitation? Very obvious one. What is that? You mean no limitation at all? Limitation එකක් නැද්ද? What is that? So the greatest limitation, so it depends on one assumption. What is that? It assumes that you can classify the cost precisely into two categories. No, you can classify cost precisely to as variable cost and variable cost and cost items දුන්නහම අපිට ඒවා කඩා ගන්න පුළුවන් හරියටම variable cost මොනවද fixed cost මොනවද කියලා. නමුත් ප්‍රායෝගික ලෝකයේ අපිට මේ යම්කිසි cost item එකක් හරියට මේක perfectly fixed ඒක perfectly variable කියලා හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන තත්ත්වයන් අඩුයි. එහෙම අවස්ථා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපිට හම්බෙන්නේ it's a kind of a semi variable cost තමයි අපිට ප්‍රායෝගික ලෝකයේ හම්බෙන්නේ. නමුත් මෙතන අපි assume කරනවා යම්කිසි cost එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට ඒක perfectly variable cost fixed cost කියලා කඩා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට that is one of the main limitation. So you cannot precisely classify a particular cost as a variable or fixed. So instead, in reality, those costs may be kind of a semi-variable. In the sense, it's a combination of variable cost and fixed cost, right? So that is the most significant limitation. Okay, so now we come to the one last question. So with that, we finish the discussion on this. It's a very easy question. So just take 5 minutes time and look at question number 8. It's from short-term decision making. The Alpha Limited manufactures a special brand of soap which they sell for ₹50 per unit. Current output is 22,500 pieces per month, which represents 75% of the full capacity. The total cost for the last month were 800,000, out of which 125,000 were fixed cost. Okay, you are given the last month situation. If the average selling price remains the same as it has been in the past, at what level of activity will the company break even? It asks you if the average selling price, that is 50, if it remains same for the last period or the past, what level of activity will the company break even? The sales price එක ඒ මට්ටමින් තියෙනවා නම් break even එක සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කොතනද කියලා අහනවා. Then it asks, assume that a new customer offers the Alpha Limited rupees 35 per price, so 35 per piece for its product. So special order එකක් එනවා. ඒකකයට රුපියල් 35 ගානේ දෙන්නම් කියලා. Provide that there are no effect on sales to the old customers and no legal complications. නීතිමය පැත්තෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක්වත් නැහැ. අපේ ඉන්න old customers ලටත් effect එකක් නැහැ. එහෙමනම් should the Alpha Limited accept an order for 7,000 pieces of soap? ඒක 7,000ක order එකක් බාර ගන්නවද කියන එක අහනවා Alpha Limited. State two other factors to be considered in making the above decision. මේ වගේ decision එකක් ගන්නකොට consider කරන්න ඕනේ. අනිකුත් factors දෙකක් සඳහන් කරන්න කියනවා. Okay. So take 5 minutes time and give it a try. Yes, good. Very correct. Go ahead. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's look at, yes, you would have attempted that by now. Good. So the first one asks, if the average selling price remain the same, what level of activity will the company break even? Okay. Uh, Currently you are producing 22,500. So you need to know the fixed cost. It's 125,000. Sales price is given. So let's look at. So sales price is there. It's 50. Even the fixed cost is there. That is 125,000. Then you need to know the variable cost per unit. So here it says the total cost, it's 800,000. The total cost is 800,000. You take the fixed cost out, there it gives you the total variable cost, and that is for 22,500 units. Hence the variable cost per unit, there it comes 30. Contribution accordingly is going to be 20 contribution per unit. So therefore the break even, it's 125,000 divided by 20. Yes, it's 6,200. Break even occurs at 6,250. Yes. Then it asks, assume that the new customer offers the Alpha Limited 35 per piece for product. It's a special product. Sorry, special order scenario. So when it comes to the special order scenario, the very first question that you need to ask, whether you can accept this particular order based on your capacity, or simple words, whether you have a excess capacity. So it says that currently you're operating at 75% of the pool capacity. So this 22,500 represent 75% capacity. So your full capacity is 30,000. Hence, what is your excess capacity? excess capacity, if you look at, you can see it's 30,000 minus 22,500. Yes, you are having excess capacity of 7,500. So this order is for 7,000. So it is well within the excess capacity. Hence, no problem. So if you accept this order, what is the gain? So from in terms of financial, because you can have a sales of 7,000 into 35. But you need to incur some cost, the variable cost. Per unit, it costs you 20 into 7,000. So accordingly, it makes a kind of a profit, right? Because the no fixed cost to be covered. So it make a profit of 385,000. Even that means the contribution, let's say, it increase your profit by 385,000. Sorry, it's 105,000. So your profit may be getting increased by 505,000, right? So අපේ profit එක අපිට පේනවා වැඩි වෙනවා 35ට විකුණන්නේ 2,35,000යි variable cost එක 1,40යි ඒ නිසා අපේ contribution එක එහෙම නැත්නම් profit එක වැඩි වෙනවා 105,000 වලින්. එතකොට in terms of financial figures, based on the financial figures or the calculation, you can say that you can go ahead with the order. So that is your decision. But when you take such kind of a decision, you need to consider certain facts. So the one such thing is that, as the question even mentioned, it's about the impact or the effect of the regulatory authorities. So, you know, in a country where the business organization would operate, in any country, I would say, in any country where the business organizations would operate, they would be having certain regulations. So when it comes to pricing, they have to comply this regulation, right? So the regulations on pricing. Especially, you know,